in November. Now, Joe Morrissey yesterday taking responsibility for his child Chase on Jack Gravely's radio show, and he is joining us now. Joe, good to have you with us here on the John Fredericks Show. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, John. How are you this morning?
Joe, I'm doing fantastic, and look, we always appreciate, there's one thing we can count on from Joe Morrissey, and it's refreshing, and that's candor. Now, I'm going to get to your personal situation in a minute, but the first thing I want to do is talk about your potential independent race in Senate District 16. And my first question is, do you have enough signatures on June 9th to qualify?
Yes. We have, as you know, and you've explained to your listening audience several times, we initially filed 971 signatures, and the powers that be counted them and said, nope, 750 don't count. You're 28 short. See you in 4 years. I said, well, really? See you in November. And we've already gone out and collected another 400. We're getting them pre-cleared. So before June 9th, we'll know that we have them.
Now, when you submit these, are these submitted to the same organization or are they submitted to the Election Commission?
Oh, great question.
Thank you.
No, this time I'm going down and I'm submitting them to the registrars in Petersburg, in Dinwiddie, in Hopewell, and let them pre-clear it. That's a great question because last time, as you know, the way the party apparatus was set up, who did the counting of my ballots? Who was responsible?
Roz Dance.
Right. So at the last day and the last hour, even though we collected 972, they said, oh, sorry, you're 28 short.
Right.
And then, of course, we showed, look, here are people that are registered to vote. And they said, you have, and the law says, and the law is clear, you the individual can't appeal. Only the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party said, no, we're not going to appeal. If Roz Dance folks said you don't qualify, then that's it. So anyway, listen, John, I'm a big boy. This is not my first rodeo. I'll see somebody in November. And listen, Joe Preston, don't count him out because I am going door to door in Petersburg, and Roz isn't liked. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Joe Preston win the primary.
Now, I've had him on my show a couple of times. He certainly wins the Energizer Bunny for Energy Award, no question. I mean, we ask him one question, and 20 minutes later he's done. So he's pretty fired up, and he's at no loss for words. I talked to his campaign the other day. They seem to be raising some money, but obviously they're at a disadvantage. Troubling to me is I can't get a phone call or an email returned from Dance or campaign, anybody in her machines. I've talked to other media. She's not talking to them. She's playing hide and seek. I was saying before you came on that I even called up Senator Don McEachin, who has endorsed Dance, and I'm like, Senator, what's the deal? How come I can't get a phone call return? I mean, even if you even if you don't want to talk to me, call me up and say we're mad at you, we're not going to talk to you, whatever. I mean, I'm a big boy like you are. Yeah. I can't get a phone call return, an email. I can't get anything.
I can't control why she won't return your call, but eventually, here's the deal with politics. You eventually have to face the music, and the music is the lever being pulled by the voters. They have the ultimate decision-making. There's two things in our country and our society that have to be sacrosanct. They have to be pure. One is the election process. I'm troubled by what happened keeping me out of the primary, not once but twice. That process has got to be pure, whether you're independent, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Vegetarian. That process, being able to run, has got to be pure. The second one, and the topic for another discussion, is our judicial system. It's got to be absolutely pure. So when you go in, whether you're, an unknown John Doe or famous, Paul, that the system is fair and works, the scales are balanced. So anyway, I'm not sure that the political electoral process has been pure so far, but it's going to be in November because the voters have the final choice.
Well, that's what the whole thing is about, is having access. And we were with you in the two challenges, and obviously everyone knows I was the only one in the galaxy to predict you were going to win in a landslide from jail, and you did. We were right there again. Now, I'm going to get to the personal thing in a minute, but I've got to ask one more question. You also told me on this perjury charge that you were going to be exonerated from that. That got thrown out. Now there's rumors out there. There's another indictment coming. When does this stop? I mean, it's starting to feel like just a witch hunt here.
I haven't heard that other rumor, but listen, hey, take your best shot. Listen, I don't respond to rumors. Haven't heard a single thing, it'll stop when it stops. I thought that everything was over, and I expected it will be. But again, do what you take your best shot. We'll go from there.
Yesterday on the Jack Gravely Show, you basically said you are the father of Chase. That's come under a lot of criticism, so you owned up to it. But walk our audience through what happened, what the decision is, and how you go forward now.
Okay, well, first of all, Myrna and I had a baby, Chase. Chase was born on March 14th. Of course, I was in Atlanta when Chase was born. And Myrna is, there's a lot of misinformation. Myrna's a grown woman. She's 19 years old. She had her baby. She conceived her baby when she was 18. So let's just be clear. We have two consenting adults. And last July, she found out that she was pregnant, and both of us think it was a blessing. And we were delighted, and it is a blessing. And Chase brings great joy to both of our lives, and we hope people can be happy for us. And if they can, wonderful. And if they can't, hey, listen, not my problem. Theirs. So anyway, but there's so many rumors, and for example, that we went down to South Carolina and we're going to live in Charleston, and Reverend Leonidas Young married us in South Carolina. And then the other rumors that I'm not involved in Chase's life and that I haven't seen him. And it was just, and some of it was irresponsible, not journalism, but letting people opine who had no information. And finally, Myrna and I said, listen, enough is enough. Okay, so when I was returning from court, when I left in the morning, I hadn't planned on it, but stopped by Jack Gravely, and I said, of course Chase is mine. We've never said that he wasn't. Okay?
That's
At our
true.
right time, we wanted to make the announcement when we wanted to. He'll be baptized a week from this Sunday at St. Patrick's Catholic Church. I've got a 2.5-year-old who is very also engaged in Chase's life. And it was important that things went through a regular process, but because of some irresponsible people that made allegations that were not based on fact, like, for instance, Joe got her pregnant, but he's not involved. Let's be clear, John. Let's be clear. Not only am I involved on a day-to-day basis, I drove 16 hours back and forth to be at his doctor's appointment because that's important to Mom and me and the baby. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is at 6, I change Chase, I feed Chase, I go work out for an hour, then I come back, get him dressed, and then I go to work, I go to court, I meet my clients, I campaign for 3 hours, and I come home, and the first person I kiss again is Chase. So I see him every day. Let's also be clear. The pundits like to say, well, he's got another child out there. Sure, I do. Everybody knows Kennedy. She's been down at the General Assembly. Kennedy is 2.5. Those two babies are the joy of my life. I saw Kennedy every day for the 9 months before she was born. I've seen her every day for the last 2.5 years. And if I'm in the middle of a busy day and her mom brings her over to the office, we stop, we go bowling in my office. We set up plastic bowls. I see her every day. So it's hurtful when people say when some person or person said I wasn't involved, and I know who it is. That's the ugly part of politics, when some of your opponents just throw out darts. But here's the bottom line. Chase is my baby. He's our baby. We were two consenting adults when he was conceived, and and I make no apologies to anyone. And if you like, and if you are happy, if those people out there that are listening are happy for us, wonderful. I really mean that. Thank you. And many people have weighed in and have said, we're so happy for you. And if others want to pontificate and criticize from the peanut gallery, that's their right, but we choose not to pay attention to it.
Joe, like me, you're Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, you're pro-life. Mm-hmm. So when there's a pregnancy, there's a choice in America, and there's basically only two choices. Take the baby to term and have it, or terminate the pregnancy. You're pro-life on multiple occasions where it might be inconvenient. You and the mom have chosen life. Isn't there a consistency there that those that criticize you basically, you are who you are, and you do what you say, and you say what you do? Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah. Sure. John, let me tell you, from the day I came to the General Assembly 8 years ago, I took pro-life positions. I know because we talked about it, the fetal pain bill. Remember, it was a bill that was introduced, and if the fetus can feel pain, then you should not be allowed to abort the bill. Of course, I supported that bill, as did most of the Republicans, and I might have been the only Democrat to do it. But my votes on pro-life matters have bothered and irked a lot of Democrats. Guess what, John? That's their right to be irked, but I could care less. Mm-hmm. I have never in 8 years put my thumb up into the wind and said, which way is good for me? I'm a product of my environment. I came from a large Irish Catholic family. I went to Catholic schools. I'm a pro-life. I believe in the sanctity of the human being, and I practice what I preach. And I'm not even I don't even discussing this sounds like maybe there was a possibility of not keeping either child, and it's also it's anathema for me even to be thinking that other people would think that there was that decision. Of course there wasn't. God bless you with children, and although children can be difficult, I'm sure I was a difficult child to my mom. They can be frustrating. They can be expensive. They are blessings, and I mean this from the core. Chase and Kennedy are the best things in my world, and we wouldn't change it for anything for a moment.
Joe, good for you for coming forward with it. A lot of people want to be judgmental. At the end of the day, you've had two children with two moms. You're taking care of them financially. It sounds like you're a good father. I have seen your daughter roaming around the office when I've been in the General Assembly as well. So I understand it. I want to thank you for coming on, Joe, and sharing that with us. And good luck. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks, John. And we'll talk on. I'm sure we'll talk before November 3rd. But you wrote your prediction down already. It's put away in your drawer,
yep.
And we'll talk about it certainly on November 4th, the day after election.
All right, Joe. Thanks.
Have a great day. Bye.
You got it. This is the John Fredericks Show. That was Joe Morrissey.